No, it's okay. There's nothing to be afraid of.
You're me!
Technically,
But how are you
yes.
here?
Look, the details are
But
unimportant.
how are you hit?
But I'm here to help you.
With what?
Reviewing a game.
What game?
Game & Watch Gallery 2 for the Game Boy Color.
Really?
Yeah. And killing you.
Wait, what?
Nope. Nope. I'm dreaming, and you aren't real, and I'm gonna wake up any second, and you aren't gonna be sitting there, and I am dreaming. I'm not a dream. I'm you. And you are gonna review the game. Why Game & Watch Gallery 2? Because sometimes you have to go back. Okay? Game & Watch Gallery 2, released in 1998, is the sequel to Game & Watch Gallery 1. Much like the original, Game & Watch Gallery 2 contains 5 Game & Watch games, both the original versions and modern remakes. However, before we go over the games, we should go over the packaging. The packaging has the Game & Watch Gallery logo with a 2 in it now across the top. On top of some art of Donkey Kong throwing barrels at Mario, Mario dodging hammers, Yoshi whacking a Shy Guy, Toad parachuting into a boat that's being driven by Mario, and Peach in the kitchen cooking up some eggs and bacon. The first game is Parachute, where you have to catch people, well, parachuting into waters. However, you have to catch them in their boat because in the water there's sharks, which try to eat them if they land in the water. You have 3 lives and that's it. However, in the modern version, you play as Mario, catching Toad, Yoshi, and a Koopa, each with different ways of falling. And there's a cannon on the side that they can sometimes land in, only for them to be shot out again. The Koopa falls the fastest, with Yoshi's falling slightly slower than they do, and Toad's typically falling the slowest. Overall, this game's pretty fun, and pretty easy. I actually really like this one. It's one of my favorites. There! I reviewed the game! Now, what do you want? What? You think you get to play one game out of the 5 of them and magically I'm just gonna tell you what's going on? Play another game. Next up is Helmet, where you have to walk across the ground into a house to end up back in an apartment building while tools fall from the sky. This one doesn't make much sense to me, folks. This one's bad. Just full tilt, classic version bad, not fun. Unclear on why the score goes up. I am confused and scared. However, in the modern version, you have to avoid a hammer bro with wings who flies around throwing hammers at you. And a P-switch shows up that when you jump on, you can collect coins for extra points. This version actually makes sense. You know, because, coins make your score go up, and now there's a reason for there to be hammers falling from the sky, because it's a hammer bro, What? Why are you trying to kill me? Oh, God. Why are you doing this to me? What do you think I am? What do you think I have been? What do you mean, have been? It was you. You've been doing it this whole time. You're the one who sent the TNT. You're the one who dropped the Tetris piece on me. You sent the me. Next up is Chef. In this game, you play as a chef who has to juggle 3 meat products as your other chefs have left. On the side, there's a little mouse who sometimes forks one of your meat products and then drops it at a later time. Overall, this game's really cute. Every time you drop it, a little mouse comes out and takes the one that you dropped. And sometimes, the game can be pretty challenging, as they all fall pretty close to each other. So, you have to keep a keen eye out for when they're coming down and how close they are to the ground. The modern version actually changes things up quite a bit. Instead of being some random cook, this time you're Princess Peach. And instead of mice coming to get your food, it's Yoshi. However, once you get a certain level of cook on the meat and eggs, you can actually feed them to Yoshi for additional points. But be careful, sometimes you have to flip around to get it. And Yoshi follows whatever way you're facing. So if something's in the wrong spot or facing the wrong way, Yoshi won't eat it. And then he'll be sad. Okay, fine. Look, I made it all the way to Chef. Are we done now? Can't have you dying wearing that. You aren't even wearing your own merch. Okay, look. I'll play Vermin. Look, there. I'll play Vermin. After Chef, there's Vermin. In Vermin, you play as a boy in his garden, whacking moles that are coming to take your fruit, or veggies, or really anything that grows in a garden. It's pretty simple. You move left and right, and you have 2 freakishly long arms that smash the moles, or gophers, probably gophers. The game's pretty simple, honestly. I've easily racked up a score of over 500 on my Legend of Zelda version. Overall, it's pretty simple. However, the modern version adds a nice challenge to it, where instead of defending a garden from gophers, you're defending Yoshi eggs from fly guys. And instead of it just being left and right, it's in 360 degrees. They come from all angles to get the eggs, which is pretty hard at some points. However, each egg has a little bit of a shield against it, being an egg and all, so it can take up to 3 hits before it cracks, and that's for each egg, which slightly takes away from the challenge that makes this version so much fun. Okay, I played them all, I'm done. Alright. Game over. Ah! Why are you trying to kill me? Why do you think I have been? Because you are a failure. Out of everything I've created, you've done the worst. Don't you get it? I am not you. You are me. I created you. I'm the owner of the channel. And because of you, I've done the worst I ever have. Your videos hit or miss, and they've just been missing and missing. So now I am here to remove the infection that has plagued my channel for far too long. Channel? What the hell are you talking about? You think I mean? Do you not remember who you are? I've done this before. Don't you remember being super loopy? Don't you remember fighting an evil teddy bear? You've done this before and so have I. But the only difference is I continue and you will not. Super loopy. What the hell are you talking about? I'm Noah. I'm Noah's Game Review. That's all I've ever been. I forgot a game. There's still Donkey Kong. In Game & Watch Gallery 2, there's still Donkey Kong at the very end. You know what? Fine. Review the last game. It will be your last game. The final game in Game & Watch Gallery 2 is Donkey Kong, which was actually a dual-screen Game & Watch game. How do they pull this off with the single screen of the Game Boy? Well, they add a button for you to switch screens. At least in the classic version. In the classic version, you have to jump over barrels and do normal Donkey Kong stuff until you get to the second layer, at which you have to avoid barrels being thrown directly at you and flick a lever, and that's how you get points. Flicking a lever. However, in the modern version, it controls much smoother and makes a little bit more sense. The point in this version is to still jump over barrels. However, while you're doing so, you also have to get up top to flick a lever to create a platform to take you up to the very top to knock down a chunk of Donkey Kong's platform. Once you knock them all down, you can rescue, at this point, Princess Peach, but if it were the original, it would still be Pauline. But it's not. It's Princess Peach. You know something? Maybe you're the infection. Maybe you are what needs to be removed! Ah!